Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first continuing education check in. I'm your host, Ethan, along with your other host, Sania. And today we're going to be covering if guys and girls can just be friends. And then we have our fan favorite profile review segment at the very end. But before each of those things, Sania has some really important tea to share, and we're going to break it down together.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't know how important my tea is, but I just really wanted some advice. Um, okay, I'm just gonna start.
I know it's important because you've been dying to say this for a while.
I have been holding it in for a little bit. Okay, so I'll just start. So there's this guy that I'm talking to. Um, and basically, when I met him, he had just gotten out of like a really, really serious relationship, as you already know. And, we started talking and kind of doing chores together, like nothing serious, like just as friends. And he even, he was the first person in my life to friend zone me. So it was like very intense. Like he was very ahead of the game. He's like, oh, by the way, don't get the wrong idea. I was just out of a serious relationship. Like it's nothing serious. Like we're just hanging out. And I was hurt, but I was like, okay, whatever. Like, guys can friend zone girls too. But then I was recently back home in Canada for like a month and a half. And then when I came back, he was very insistent that he wanted to hang out. And we talked like a little bit while I was away. Um, but I think when we actually hung out, I was just left very confused about what it is that he wants now.
Mhm.
Like his words are saying, yeah, like, like I've gotten over this girl. It's been 8 months. But personally, like, I don't think you can get over a serious relationship in just 8 months. If just a month before that, you were telling me that you're not ready.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess just when we were hanging out and stuff like that, it just seemed like he was very physically charged up. And I just didn't know, like, especially because it went from like nothing, like, oh, we're just friends, to like our first time hanging out when, when there's supposedly interest.
Yeah.
And it just felt very like he was focused on more so one thing. So I guess I'm just confused.
Yeah. Can you give us a little context? Do you usually go from meeting someone to doing chores with them right away? Is that like when when you make friends for the first time? Or like what were your impressions of him, and then how did you like start doing chores with him?
Okay, so I met him at like a work networking thing because he is like a pretty like attractive looking guy, and I noticed him. And then, we just started to talk, and he's kind of new to the area. So he like, I think he was asking everybody for their contact information just to have, people to hang out with, especially since he'd just gotten, out of a really serious relationship. And so he was just looking for friends. And he had mentioned that he was looking to like move. He was looking for apartments. And then I also happened to be looking for apartments at the time. So I think that's kind of what started us off with talking. And then he really likes to hike, and I made the mistake of saying that I like to hike too.
Yeah.
But people in California take their hiking to a different level than what it means for me.
Yeah.
But anyways, we went on like a hike together, and we had like it was like really chill. We, the conversation was good. And then that's when he offered like, oh, if you're looking for apartments, like I'd be happy to go with you. And because he did some like realtor coursework, so he sort of knows like the right questions to ask and stuff. And then we work really close to each other, so it was really just convenient after work. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, since we were going every single week to look at these apartments, I found myself questioning, like, I just met you. Like, why are you doing chores with me?
Yeah.
And that's why I started to think, oh, like maybe there's something. But he shut that down, like right away by saying that, like, we're just friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first told me about this guy, this is a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And actually, when you first came to me to like talk about him, ask for advice, do you remember like what you said? You were like, Ethan, I need your help because I need to know like how a nice guy thinks.
Yeah.
Do you still think that he like falls under that umbrella? And do you think like why do you think I was the best person to give advice for him?
Okay, so because he is very religious, and I feel like, not saying that just because you're religious you have to be a nice guy, but it just means you have certain values, and I have those same values. So I would put people in that, like I would put you guys in the same category for that. And then I also came to your advice because you met the guy. You saw us interact, so I felt like you would be able to give good advice. And then also just because I feel like I find myself usually attracted to a more toxic type of like man. And so this guy seemed very just genuine and upfront and honest. And so I thought, let me not mess it up. Let me see how an honest good guy thinks. And like you're one of like the few honest good guys that I know. So I was like, okay, yeah, let me ask Ethan, like what if he's saying this, what does it mean? Stuff like that.
Got it. So what's going on?
I
We
like sorry, I'm just really confused, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I said, before I left to go back home for the holidays, it was all very innocent, very platonic. Like even if it wasn't platonic, okay, I'm gonna give a little tidbit. Like on my last night before going to Canada, like or my like 2 night, I don't know, whatever. The last week before I went to Canada, we went to go get crumble cookie together because I really like crumble cookie. And it was just like this really awkward struggle of like who's gonna pay. But then he just paid for his own cookie and he didn't like not that he needs to pay for my food, but I think if you're talking to somebody with that intention, like as a girl, like I look out for that as like a sign, like, oh, like, is it romantic or is it just like friendship?
Yeah.
And then I paid for my own cookie, so I was like, okay, like, Sonia, like he's told you he doesn't see you that way. And he's making you pay for your own cookie.
Yeah.
So probably like just, take the signs that he's giving you. So yeah. But then just when I came back, and like I said, we didn't talk much while I was away. We FaceTime once and then there was a cute little email exchange. But then when I came, it was just very like, yeah, it went in like a full 360 flip, I felt like.
Whoa, 180.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
180. I'm good at math, I swear.
Yeah. No, I know you're good at math. You're a really smart person. Okay, so describe like what happened. Why is it 180?
I think just because it was so friendship before.
Yeah.
And then now that I came, it's not like we're sitting there talking about relationships, but for example, like we went to get groceries because we were like, it was his suggestion that we cook together, which I feel like is a very intimate thing to do as like a first, from like hanging out doing chores to like, oh, this is the first date.
For sure.
So like, I do feel like the time apart maybe made him think certain thoughts and like escalate in his mind what we are maybe. Whereas in my mind, because I paid for my crumble cookie, I was de-escalating. So we just came and we met at different points, I think.
Yeah.
Not that I don't consider him at all or anything like that, but it was just like we had different expectations.
Yeah.
It's like we're walking around the grocery store and like, he'll like subtly put his hand on my like upper back. Like it's nothing major, but it's like something that never, like there was never any, physical contact.
Yeah.
And it was just like a lot of little stuff like that. And I was just like, are you... in your time away from me, did you just miss having a girl around? Or is it that you actually like me? Because I don't want to just be somebody's like, like someone wastes their time with me.
Yeah.
Especially because he's the type to be in serious relationships. And he hasn't, not that he needs to come to me and like propose, but like there just wasn't enough conversation, I feel like. So I was really blindsided by the amount of like physical, like,
yeah.
So I think that's why I'm confused about his intentions right now.
Got you. So that was like how he escalated and how he was acting when you got back. How were you trying to de-escalate? And do you think he noticed that?
I definitely think he noticed because I'm not, okay, when I'm under pressure, I'm not good at like, I don't know how to react.
For sure, yeah.
And okay, there was this TV show that I said I really wanted to watch, Loki. I don't know if you've seen it, season 2. I was like dying to watch it. Anyway, so he remembered that and he was like, oh, like after we cook, like let's watch that. And like, it's like very too much detail and we might need to bleep this out.
That's okay.
But like when he was like, let's say he'll put on the next episode or he'll turn off the light or go get water.
Yeah.
When he would come back, he'd be like, oh, and he'd get very close. And
yeah.
It's clear he's going in for a kiss.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear to me, the ghosts in that house, like it's clear to everyone. He's trying to go in for a kiss.
Yeah.
But to try to not reject him, but also not do stuff that I'm not comfortable with, I would just like turn my head and like go in for a hug instead. So I think, and he, he made multiple like little like when we were watching TV, he had his arms around me and he's like, oh, like your skin is so soft. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, but I'm so cold. Like,
yeah. So
I would like deflect a little bit. So I think it was very clear to him.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. So are you like, do you want me to say what I'm thinking right now?
Yeah.
So you said that you're not sure if he like is actually interested or
Mhm.
just wants to like have a girl around
Yeah,
because
because he was used to maybe having a girl around for so long.
for sure. And like being in such a serious relationship, that was a norm for him. But why
Mhm.
can't it be both? I think
Is this just because you're friends with him?
no, 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 no. I promise you, every
Okay.
guy thinks this way.
Okay,
Like
tell me.
when you're at like our stage in life,
Yeah.
like everyone wants to have a companion.
Right.
And so, and especially as a guy, like having a girl around is, I think everyone wants that.
Mhm.
But then he could also be interested in you at the same time.
Okay.
And I think there's like, without a doubt, he's interested. And
But like emotionally interested, because like you said, he was
yeah,
in such a serious relationship. I don't want to be just like, oh, I just got out of this like really like draining serious thing, and like let me just have some fun. Like
yeah,
I'm not like a. I don't know if I give off fun vibes, but I'm not fun like
yeah,
that.
I got you. How much has he told you? Like, how much, when you guys talk, what
Mhm.
level is your conversation at? Are you able to talk about personal things? Is he talking about his ex
He
while you
like
guys are talking?
again, like so most of the conversations we had was when I was like before I went away for the holidays.
Hmm.
And since I came back, like I'm telling you, like that the first date, I guess you can call it, since I came back,
Hmm.
it was very like surface level, like very like, oh, like what did you do with your family? And like he made like peppermint bark when he was back home and he like made me try it. Like it was very sweet, but
Hmm.
nothing deep.
Yeah,
And I did express that to him
yeah,
after we hung out. I told him I was like I just feel like it was very like a big change and I'm not able to follow, and I think I need to understand why you're like why all of a sudden now you're ready to move on and you weren't.
yeah,
Um, Not like in a way to quiz the other person, but just so that I could try to understand better.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but we haven't talked anything deep right now.
yeah. When was the last time you saw him?
The first and last time I saw him this year
Wow.
was on Sunday night.
Okay, okay. And did you guys make plans to see each other already?
Yeah, we did. So we're going out again tomorrow,
Uh
and
huh.
I feel like tomorrow's like, and it's cute. Like he does know me really well. Like he didn't just like I feel like a lot of guys have come to me, and I don't know, depending on how they view me, but they'll just come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, let's hang out." But then there's no plan, there's no effort, there's no like, how do you even know me? Like, do you want to take me to sushi? Like, I don't eat sushi.
Hmm.
But he does really know me well. Like when I told him that I wanted to talk more,
Yeah.
he suggested like that he wants to take me to like a nice dinner and like somewhere that I could like get dressed up because he knows that I like to get dressed up and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think like I'm already kind of going into it with like a negative mindset, which I don't know if that's fair of me or not
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Before we break that down, I promise you, this guy is very interested. And it sounds like he's probably not sure exactly what he wants, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants this to go somewhere. And so
Mm-hmm.
he might not be ready to define anything, but I definitely think that like he sees potential
Mm-hmm.
and it is just like trying to like play the middle ground right now
Okay.
until like you guys get a better feel for each other. Because I think both of you know you haven't known each other for super
We
long.
haven't.
And
Yeah.
so it's important to kind of build like a foundation, get some reps in, like
Right.
figure someone out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely think that if you're still interested in him,
Mm-hmm.
like you should give it a shot. I think what's holding you back is what he said at the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
I'm not ready for a relationship. I just
Yeah.
got out of something serious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think based on how he's acting, that's that might not be the case right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like if I were in your shoes, I would give him a shot, but
Yeah.
then I think I would want to bring up that question again
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon
Right.
and force him to answer it.
Right. Yeah, because that was gonna be my follow up. Like, okay,
Yeah.
because right now, like, I think I was more interested in him when he told me he didn't like me, which that's me being toxic again. So I'm
Yeah.
really trying not to be like that.
Yeah.
But then I guess my question is, I'll give him I'll give him a fair shot. But it's like, at what point do like, how much time do you give somebody?
Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to just sit and like, not talk to somebody else who could also be a potential option? Like, what am I supposed to do
Hmm.
right now in that sense?
Yeah,
Just because also, like I said, his actions really threw me off. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
get it, boys have like needs or whatever, but I'm not responsible for your
Yeah,
needs.
yeah.
You know, like I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your, complete this out too. I'm not your, like, I don't, those are not my problems to deal with.
For sure. I will say, all guys, almost all guys, are extremely physical. And
Yeah.
so, like, if a guy ever tells you that physical touch is not one of his top love languages, he's lying
Yeah.
straight up to your face.
Really?
Yeah. And so, even though, like, I, I think he's actually feeling you because beyond like wanting to like be physically close, he's putting in the effort with the little
Yeah.
things, remembering things that you've told him before,
Mhm.
making actual plans to see you.
And emailing me while I was on holiday.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And so like that's I don't think he's just trying to mess around, but it's still possible. The chances are just less.
Okay.
And so I think right now you kind of need to figure out what you want.
Right.
Because really, like, the ball's in your court. You have all the power. If you want to see where this goes, then I think you should do that. But
Mhm.
nothing's tying you down. I think like you're
Right.
totally free to talk to
Right.
whoever you
Okay,
want.
that's I guess what I was wondering. Like,
Yeah.
where am I? Like, not like I'm dying to talk to other people. It's just I've been in this position before in the past where I put all my eggs in one basket, and then when that basket breaks, I'm left with nothing. All my eggs are gone. They're cracked, they're fallen, they're bruised. Like, so I just don't want to do that again.
Can you help me understand that? Because I get what you're saying, right? Like you put all your eggs in one basket, you focus on this one
Mhm.
person, it doesn't work out. All the other potentials
Are
they're
gone now.
okay, but that's not really true, right? You've had you've always had a lot of options, but like these potential guys that you're mentioning, are
Mhm.
they like
Like real options.
no. Did they like get into relationships and they're just off the market?
No, more so like they're just not interested anymore. You know, like those feelings. Like I feel like I see people's lives as like lines, and like sometimes you get close to another person, then you separate.
Yeah.
And so like at a time where I was very much focused on getting close to this one line,
Mhm.
maybe somebody else was trying to get close to me, and I didn't even pay attention to them. But you realize after the fact, like, oh, like they were also good, but here I was putting my time and energy into something that didn't materialize.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're old. Like we're not just we're not just like dating to like waste time. Like I would much rather be alone. If I'm
Yeah.
dating, it's for like a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And so I really don't want to waste any time.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely think if there's anyone else who you think has potential and you
Mhm.
kind of like and
I'm
you're
curious about
down,
them.
yeah, I
Mhm.
think like you totally have the green light.
Okay.
And I don't think this guy will feel bad. I don't think you should feel bad.
Okay.
He put himself in this situation.
Yeah, true.
And so honestly, that might be good because this is like one of the first nice guys that you're maybe giving a chance to.
True.
And so like you can like see where things go,
Mhm.
talk to other guys,
Mhm.
and then maybe like when you talk to other guys, you'll see like maybe those kinds of guys like your exes are
Mhm.
not
Or
like
not
who you
good.
want to be with
Okay,
anymore.
true. It's like try out the bad ones kind of to realize the good one that I have.
Not necessarily try out the bad ones, but I mean, the more you try, the more you figure out what you really want
True.
and what's right for you in this moment.
True.
And that's something that I've learned recently too.
Mhm.
And so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Good to know. Let you know how the date goes.
yeah, for sure.
tomorrow.
And I guess everyone's kind of on the ride with us as we
Yeah.
figure this
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna figure out what happens with this guy.
Yeah, cross your fingers, everyone.
Only if it's meant to be, though.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, for sure. And I think there's like a lot more in your dynamics with him that like we should talk about too.
Yeah. Another day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, so the main topic for this episode, and this is like one that I feel like is super relevant for us right now, is how to navigate friendships and relationships at the same time. And
Mhm.
so I guess the question that I want to start out with is if you have any close guy friends and like how close are they on a
Mhm.
scale of 1 to 10? 10 being your best friend right now.
Okay. Um, okay, when you say do I have any close guy friends, are you saying like people that are purely just friends? Because that would be like maybe two or three. Everybody, any guy friend that I'm close to, like a level of, 6 and above,
Yeah.
it has translated into, somebody catching feelings.
Damn. Okay, let's just say platonic guy friends. How close are they? 10 being your best friend.
Mm, I'm even like struggling to find like examples of people that are just platonic guy friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to like
Mhm.
give like a number based on a guy friend right now,
Mhm.
but in general, what is the highest number you think a platonic guy friend can get
In
to?
terms of closeness,
Yeah.
um, where they don't even end up catching feelings, where it's just like when it's platonic on both sides, you mean?
Yeah.
Um, maybe like a 3.
Whoa.
4 maybe, but 4 is even kind of pushing it.
And do you think that's like more on the guy or more on you?
I definitely feel like it's more on the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really interesting because when I was thinking about this question for myself, I think girls that I'm close with, it's not a lot. It's 2, maybe 3.
Okay. And how
But
close are you to them?
I would say an 8.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like
Wait, I want to break this part down because I'm
for sure.
confused.
Yeah,
You're an 8 close to these girls.
yeah.
And you have not caught feelings.
No. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll break
Like
that.
are they not your type physically, or is there some other, is there some like for sure like this is something I cannot pursue, like some kind of reason like that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the case. And so
Like this.
like as a guy, I've I've always considered like almost every friend that I've made, like who's a girl,
Mhm.
like I've thought like will this ever work out? And
Mhm.
so yeah, I've had that
I think a
thought.
lot of guys think like this, which I didn't know.
Every guy
My little
thinks
brother
that.
told me that. He's like, if a guy's your friend, he's not your friend. He finds you attractive. He says guys won't be friends with girls unless they find them attractive.
No, that's not true.
No?
That's not
Okay.
true. I think that's like that's like a guy that's like a different friendship dynamic between a guy and a girl.
Okay.
I think like I wouldn't consider that platonic friendship.
Mhm.
That is like probably one-sided, but it's not platonic anymore.
Mhm.
And so for me, like being able to have platonic friends who are girls, I think it's exactly what you said. There are deal breakers that I have
Mhm.
that I'm looking for in like a romantic partner
Right.
that I know they don't have,
Okay.
or they have that deal
The deal breaker.
breaker.
Like
Right.
for example, like I have a friend. We were very close all through undergrad. We still are very close. Like if you want to say like I could technically put him up at like an 8 or a 9. Like we do talk all the time, even though like I haven't seen him in like a year. But early-ish on in our friendship, like we realized like we had feelings for each other, and that we wanted to give it a shot. And so, but because he's a different religion than me,
Mm.
and we know that like for me, I have strict ideas about what I want in my future in terms of religion, and he has those same strict ideas, except just ours don't match up.
Mhm.
So we both know without a doubt, like nothing can happen between us, like the deal breaker that
Right.
you're saying,
Right.
but there is still that interest.
Yeah.
So that's why like I don't know if I could call it fully like a platonic friendship, because there
Mm.
is interest. Like if he's drunk one day, like that he will say some stupid stuff and like try to do some dumb, like you know what I mean. So I wouldn't be able to go.
Oh.
So in your platonic
Yeah.
friendships with deal breakers, is it just because I feel like part of it also has to be your interest? Like, are you interested in them?
Yeah. I think what we're discovering right now and like what I'm realizing is that there's like a green zone,
Mm-hmm.
a red zone, and then like a yellow zone.
Okay.
And probably like if you're like 6 to 8 friends with someone from the other gender,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably in the yellow zone.
Okay.
And you probably have the potential to like have some kind of feelings just because you're like sharing personal like stories,
Yeah, you're close.
and yeah, and you're spending a lot of time together.
Like you share your insecurities.
Yeah.
Like maybe they've seen you on like your worst day.
Yeah.
And then also, I think just the amount of time you spend together. I think one of our coworkers actually told us this. If a boy and a girl are seeing each other consistently, every weekend, and if it starts off platonic, like it doesn't matter how platonic you are, eventually, like if it's just the two, also if you're hanging out in groups versus alone,
Yeah.
if it's just you and a girl every single weekend, even give it 6 months, you're gonna catch feelings. She could be completely not your type.
Yeah.
But it just brings, like you said, like closeness.
Yeah.
And like that intimacy and like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you're in that situation, because I totally agree. I think that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the other thing that works for me is that, like, with these friends who are, like, I would say an 8, I don't see them often. I'll see them like once every few months.
Then I guess my question to you is, how do you describe them as an 8 then, in terms
Because
of closeness?
there's nothing that I won't ask them for advice for,
Okay.
and there's nothing that I won't tell them.
Okay.
And so, like, if I'm going through something relationship wise, I can bring it up to them and they'll give me advice. And then if like anything's going on at home, like with my
Right.
family, like I could tell them. But they've also like had my back throughout the years.
Okay.
They're like people who are my biggest supporters. And so
Mhm.
I don't take that lightly. Like if
Right.
you got my back, I got yours. And that's
Right.
why I put them so high.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Which might be kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you find any of them sexually attractive? Like physically, do you find them, like say if they weren't your friend, they're just some girl on the street, you see her at a bar, at a sporting event, whatever.
Yeah.
Would you find this person who is an 8 to you,
Uh-huh.
would you find them attractive? Any of these 2, 3 that you said are 8s?
Maybe like 1.5 of them.
It's a half of a person.
Okay, the half means
top half, bottom half?
and it changes too. I think half because it probably changes in the situation.
Mhm.
But in general, no, they're not my type.
None of them. Not even the one. From the 1.5?
No.
Okay.
But I think like if you asked if I was sexually attracted, I would say yes.
Okay.
But they're like not my type.
Huh?
Okay.
This is some boy logic going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
make
I can
sense.
explain though.
Okay.
So this is not PC, but like every guy like can
I
appreciate
can
like
tell that you're scared to say this. Now we really want to know.
can appreciate a girl who like dresses well or
Mhm.
has a and so like a girl can
Do you have
have
to bleep that out?
maybe let's say you have like a really nice you might not be my type, right? Like maybe like your face or your personality, but like sexually, like I'm definitely attracted to you.
To do what?
Okay, well, how are you defining sexual attraction?
Okay, sorry.
I think
Okay.
that like
Mhm.
you're very physically attracted,
Okay. Sure.
like
Like
objectively.
you said, half, bottom half, clearly.
No, but like
Mhm.
the half is like
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm. Okay, so you could be friends with somebody that you find sexually attractive
right.
and not catch feelings for them because of
Yes.
these deal breakers.
The deal breakers, and they're not my type,
Right.
and then also I don't see them a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Do you think if maybe somehow you were in a position where you did end up spending a lot of time with them?
Yeah.
Do you think, because I think a lot of people, especially in our generation too, because we're like new movers, like we're paving the way for like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like, do you think you would be like one of those deal breakers? Would you be like, well, maybe I could make it work? Like if you met somebody that you really liked, like let's say a friend that you started to develop feelings for, like would your mind start to be like, oh, you know what? I think I could make it work. You know what? She doesn't eat bacon. You know what? I actually don't care about bacon anymore. Like, have you ever thought like that?
yeah, for sure. And I think like that's a super normal like line of thinking.
Mhm.
And I think it's good because if your deal breaker is actually like a deal breaker, then like that forces you to really think Is this like something that I actually need in a relationship?
Okay.
Is this like a quality that I really need in a partner?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then you're maturing and you're
Okay.
like figuring out what you really want.
Okay, true.
But I do think that if you're like really considering this person more because you're getting really close and they're still not meeting your basic deal breakers, let's
Right.
say they don't get along with your family,
True. Mm-hmm.
then I think you would be pretty dumb to move on that feeling.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people would do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like people have different values, you know, like you
Yeah.
said, like for some people it could be, yeah, getting along with family, and like for other people it could be how much money you make. Like
Mhm.
people have different deal breakers,
Yeah.
which nobody's right is, yeah, it's right or wrong or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess, so what are we feeling on guy and girl friendships? I'm very like, I don't think they're possible, truly.
Whoa.
Like I'm just like, I don't know if I wasn't making that very clear with my low ratings,
Yeah.
but like even you know, people would be thinking you and I were doing this podcast
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and we're friends. But I think a lot has to do with the amount of time that we're spending together one on one.
Yeah.
And for us, that time is like negligible. Like it doesn't, aside from when we're just sitting here and like chatting,
Yeah.
which you are. Like I do, you know, like I do confide in you a lot. I ask you for a lot of advice, and I think as a girl, every friendship that I start, I always hope it's like a brother. Like, you know, give me advice, but like, you know, be unbiased. You know, tell me the hard truth that, you know, other people might not want to say because they'll think it's rude. And
Yeah.
I think you are like that to me, but I do think like even somebody like you and me, if we hung out every weekend, just you and me, like only like just us alone,
Yeah.
definitely somebody would catch feelings.
I think you make a good point. And you just watch me get friend zone live. But I feel the same way. And I think that's why like this is gonna work out with being business partners and
Yeah.
like being friends like
Yeah.
while we do this together is really gonna work. And so I think our final answer is that I think we do agree that it is possible,
Mhm.
but there has to like with certain conditions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you can't be hanging out super often.
Just
And
one-on-one. In groups, it's
Yeah.
fine. Like
Yeah.
I see you all the time in groups, and like it's great. Like even in the group, I'll go to you and I'll, you know, we'll have our little check-in.
yeah,
But it's not like, you know, that privacy of like, oh, we're gonna go play tennis, just me and you.
right.
You know, like that starts to get too intimate. Or like we're gonna go eat dinner, just you and me. Like that is crazy. Like, so people are telling themselves that you're doing that as friends. It's fake. It's not as friends.
Right. And then I think like on top of that, I think it's important that they are not your type and they have deal breakers that
Mhm.
are
Like
key
I
to you.
said, people will fight those deal breakers.
Yeah.
You know?
But I'm saying if you combine all of those things together,
Mhm.
they're not your type. They have deal breakers,
Mhm.
and then also you're not spending a lot of time together. I
Mhm.
think you can hit an 8.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so I think like we can get to an 8
Yeah.
because I think like we can check each of those boxes.
Mhm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? This can be another thing we can keep everybody updated on.
Yeah,
To see-
and they will have to.
Yeah, well, because we are friends.
Yeah.
But just to see if we can get up to that 8 level that we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And so I guess my next question is we both have friends who are the opposite gender. And I think a lot of times when you're in those types of friendships, there are feelings involved
Mhm.
because you don't have their deal breakers and you are their type.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do in those friendships? Like, do you even allow it? Because they happen. And
Yeah.
and so like I'm curious, like do you allow it and then what happens when you find out?
I honestly have not been navigating this well in my whole entire life. So I think if somebody has the answer, I don't know if we can figure it out right here, right now.
Yeah.
But truly, I don't know. I like, because that situation has come up so many times, you know, when you're, you know, you think you're friends with somebody and then all of a sudden the other person, or sorry, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, something has led to, you know, one of the people involved like developing feelings. and then that person's like confessing their love to you and things like that, and then you're like, technically a responsible thing to do at that moment would be to step back from the friendship. But it just also is, I don't know, I don't want to keep calling us old, but but I feel like at our age, like it's really hard to find like genuine friendships. And sure, people will be out there and they'll say it was never a friendship to begin with. You only liked it because the guy liked you all along.
Yeah.
But just to have somebody, like you said, somebody that you're close to, someone that you can share if you're having issues with your family or whatever, like you can share that stuff with, and then now all of a sudden, like in one day, I have to stop being friends with this person because he likes me. Like, it honestly, like, it feels very unfair. So I personally have not been able to cut off those people. I've tried with everybody that has ever happened with to try to be friends with them. It never usually works. The guy always ends up, having to like delete, block, remove me off of everything.
Yeah.
Because I understand that it's hard for them to see you, go on dates with other people, to do like, give somebody else the position that they were so sure that they were going to get.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I have no idea how to navigate it in like a healthy way.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. I think a big part of our podcast is exploring what to do in these situations. Like obviously we don't have all the answers. Yeah. And I think the guests that we're going to bring on and also our conversations, like I think we're hoping that we'll get to a point.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Continue your education together.
Yeah. And I like you guys are along for the journey, but like through your comments and our interactions, I think that was a whole goal of this.
Yeah,
podcast.
Just to help everybody, I guess. Help us too, like just to figure all of this stuff out.
Yeah. Okay. And so for these guys where this situation has happened, what level did you get to like with them in your friendship?
In terms of closeness?
Yeah.
I think I definitely let myself get carried away and definitely was hitting like 9s and 10s.
Damn. That's crazy.
It wasn't intentional, I think, especially when I moved to... Like, it happened to me in Canada, too, so I'm not going to blame it on the fact that I was in California.
Yeah.
But when I moved to California, like, I had to make a brand new set of friends.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that these guys that I was talking to wanted to put more time and effort into our friendship. Like, they would drop me off at home every night after studying and then stay upstairs, like, eating dinner till, like, 3, 4 in the morning. And then we have class 9 a.m. the next day. It was just dinner. It was nothing else. But, like... They would just stick around just to spend time and talk.
This is not just a dinner then.
It was.
Especially,
I swear to God, it was like really bad frozen pizza. Like
that's cap.
Like the guy will be watching this and he won't be able to tell you.
But they're staying until 3 or 4 a.m.
Because the conversation was good. What do you mean? I stayed awake till 3, 4 a.m.
Bro, like my close friends now, my closest friends who are 9s and 10s, they're not staying that late.
Okay.
Like when you stay that late, you want something.
Okay, as a stupid girl, clearly, I did not think about that. And also, okay, I think one big thing that I do have to put out there, when these guys were staying, the guys that I had defined as friends, as nothing from my, perspective, I defined as friends, when they were staying at my house till 2, 3, sitting in the living room eating while my 7 other roommates are in the house, by the way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like I talked to you about advice, I think for me, it's like a system. Like when I'm trying to make a guy friend, I will talk to him about other guys. I feel like that really clearly puts, clearly tells them that I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And also tells them like, oh, like I'm pursuing other things. So yeah, this guy was staying in my house every day until like 3, 4 in the morning to talk. But he was giving me advice on my ex because I had a really hard time getting over that, especially when I got to Berkeley and I wasn't with my family and like my breakup was very recent. Like, so he knew that I was just talking about others.
Oh, hell no. He did not know. I promise you that. Okay, so this is what's going on. So no one in their right mind is going to stay with you until 3 or 4 p.m. unless they really liked you and they wanted to pursue something. But here's the thing, right? I totally get what he said. If you don't like the guy, the signal that you're going to send is by telling him about other guys.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember this, but maybe like a month ago, I was asking you for advice. And so I was telling you about a girl who was telling me about other guys.
Right.
And in that situation, you were telling me that, well, you were doing some translating based
Mm-hmm.
on what she said.
Right.
And I think what you brought up is that she was trying to see my reaction. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it can go two ways.
True.
Like she's either telling you that she's not interested and
Mm-hmm.
sending that message, or she's trying to see your reaction.
To see if
Maybe
you're gonna get jealous and
exactly.
stuff like that. Like how, yeah, true. And that does happen. Like if as a girl, if I have, like for example, this guy that we talked about earlier in my
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
advice section, I guess. When in the beginning, when I had no idea if he liked me because we were hanging out, I was putting feelers out there to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do this with this guy.
Yeah.
To see how he would react if it would shake him a little bit. But that was because that was such a new friendship and we just really didn't know each other. So I had no way of knowing what his intentions were.
Yeah.
But if you're my friend like all year, we're studying together every day, we're very close, clearly. And if I'm telling you this stuff, and also if this is the only stuff we're always talking about other guys, I think that also shows that it's more friend zoney.
Yeah.
If it's just one sprinkle of like other guys to see how you'd react, that could be, she's checking for interest.
Yeah.
But I think like if it's like a constant theme, like I only come to you with boy problems, like then you're there to give me the boy's perspective, the boy's advice to like help me out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's like a really good gauge. So I think if you're a guy out there, you're watching this, I think that's a really useful way to know like where a girl stands.
Yeah.
Or especially if she's a friend, like how often is she talking about other guys?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is important because I think a lot of guys don't understand that. Even I didn't understand that. And so like just in general, also to like let you know that when a girl tells a guy about someone else, they don't necessarily take it as you're not
Like a
interested.
red light. Okay.
No. They just take it as like a story, and then as a guy, you're thinking about how you can comfort the girl, how you can like encourage her, and
to get back out there.
Subtly hinting at you sometimes, but then they think that they have a chance.
Okay.
And because they feel like they're able to like kind of bond with you at a more emotional level.
Sure.
And I'm only saying this because I've fallen into this trap too. Like I've only recently realized that when that girl was telling me about other guys, like she's telling me that we were just friends. Right. And I didn't understand that. And like I'm very thankful that nothing ever happened. And I totally get that now.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel used.
Right.
Because it's like such a subtle way to send that message. And I'm telling you, like, guys don't get it.
Right.
And I hope that like if you're watching this, like you get it now. Because
and also maybe I guess as girls we should be very clear.
Yeah.
Like and just say it. Say, hey, you're my friend. Like I hope you know that. Like very clearly communicate and not leave stuff to guessing work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like you're telling me that you feel very heard and used. Like and now I'm like looking back at my history of guy friends and I was like, man, like I really liked them. Like they were my friends. They were my very close friends. I told you like 9s and 10s. Like I cared about them. I cared about their happiness. So it makes me feel really guilty that I was the reason that they felt used at any point in the friendship. So
yeah. And I think one thing that I want to be clear about is that I think as a guy, we also make girls feel used. Just like, and you touched on this before, but I think a lot of times when a guy is interested in a girl, and guys get interested like really quick, a lot of times the first thing they'll think to do is become friends with you.
Okay.
And then I think like when it becomes clear that it doesn't work out, then the girl also feels hurt because they're like, oh, you're just friends with me to like get my pants or to like try to spark a relationship. And it's not fair for the girl either. And so this like kind of happens on both sides where like no one's really being honest.
Right. It's hard to talk about. I feel like to like really like sit down with somebody and talk about it. Because like I said, that guy was trying to friend zone me and I was like, whoa. I never even expressed interest, because you get offended for sure. And it's just a hard conversation to bring up. But I think if we can try to send better signs, because or communicate it better, which I think is impossible to happen. But
Yeah.
at least sending better signs and like being responsible.
Yeah.
Like you said, when you find those 8s and 9s and 10s that have told you that they like you should take a step back. And I'm learning that now.
Right. Yeah, I think when you get to that point, de-escalation is so important. And I think no one really knows the proper way to de-escalate. But I think what we discovered just now is that you need to start seeing them less.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Time, distance helps.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't have to be mean about it.
Yeah. Just see them in group settings, you know, like, or if you have to hang out one-on-one, because you guys are closer and you want to talk about maybe more private stuff going on in your life, just less frequently.
Yeah.
I think is good.
Yeah. And I think also being smarter about what you share with them.
Yeah.
Because at any point you can just kind of cut back on the details of like what you're telling them. And I think it's just something that has to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
I did have a guy friend tell me once that like, and this was like my first time hanging out with him since school. And he's a very like confident guy. So he said it right away. Like most people beat around the bush. They'll linger around, wait after 8 months, tell me they like me.
Yeah.
He was very like, he dropped me off that day, the first time we hung out. And he was like, Sania, look, I'm going to be straight with you. I'm getting the feeling that you like me. And I was like, what? That I like you? And I didn't, by the way. And he's like, yes, because when a girl's sitting in my car and she's being so open and she's telling, she's being vulnerable, she's being her true, authentic self, it makes me think that she's comfortable with me and that she likes me. And, obviously if I'm interested, that's like a green light for me to pursue. And that was like life-changing for me because for me, I don't know, maybe this is just me, maybe this is all girls, I don't know.
This is a lot of girls.
Okay, so like that, if I actually like a guy, I'll clam up. I'll get shy. I wouldn't share. I'm more insecure. I won't share my vulnerabilities. Like I'm not going to tell you I'm really insecure about my hair because you're like a guy that I'm trying to impress. I don't want to direct your attention to something that I'm insecure about. But if you're my friend, I will talk to you and be like, oh, like my hair's been bothering me. Like, do you think I should cut it? Do I color it? Like, what do you think I should do? But I understand now that guys take it the opposite way. That when you're talking more and open more and more like vulnerable, it shows that, it could show them that you're interested.
Yeah.
So I think you are right about cutting back on the number of details and like not being that open.
And I think something that you're pointing out right now, and I think there are types of people, like these types of people on both sides, are people who are really good at being friends with someone from the other gender. They're just super friendly people, like most of the time.
You're hitting a nerve.
Yeah. And honestly, I think we're both that way. Because the fact that we're able to have like lots of friends who are guys and friends who are girls, like shows that we're very comfortable and like extroverted and friendly. And I think this can also be a big weakness because and I've been on the receiving end of this too. Like there's been a lot of girls that I've met who are just super friendly with guys. And like I don't know why, but for some reason it just like always comes out as flirty.
Okay.
Like these guys or these girls are like they get very close to these guys. They hang out a lot one-on-one. They're going to like classes with these guys. Yeah. Can you like
I think as a girl who happens to know that I do sometimes tend to have that kind of a personality, I think you really, really have to look out for because is she being touchy with you? Is she doing something above what's normal? Is she talking to you the same way she's talking to that other guy? Maybe a little bit more comfortable with you because, you guys are closer. But, is her general behavior, her aura the same, when you guys are one-on-one versus if there's 5 other guys in the group?
Yeah.
Like, is she doing anything out of the ordinary? Because that's what you have to look for. These people that are very comfortable and open, maybe you should be looking out for when they get shy and like timid and like, because that's what's different. That's something showing them that like they're reacting differently to your presence.
Yeah. Okay. But let me give you a situation. And this is like something that I've experienced, right? And so there are girls who get very shy about things like their shoes are dirty. And I love shoes and they know that. And so they'll like try to hide their shoes like if it's dirty.
Right.
And like they know that I know.
Right.
But then at the same time, like they're very friendly, very
Mhm.
willing to share, and then they're also they get close with other guys.
Okay.
And I think like it's confusing because they don't get close to a lot of guys at the same time.
Okay.
It's kind of like getting close with one guy, um like one at a time.
Okay.
And so like I'm telling you, it could be a mix of those things.
Right.
And like as a guy, I would not know
Mm-hmm.
what the hell you're trying
Trying to,
to
yeah.
signal.
Right. Mm.
Yeah. And so I think one thing that I think is really important is that if you feel like you're this type of person, whether you're a male or a female, is to, I guess, be more careful because, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, being on the receiving
It
end,
sucks.
yeah,
It literally feels like death.
yeah.
I experienced my first major receiving end in July.
Mm.
I hope this guy watches because
Why do you hope he watches? Are you gonna
he needs to
expose his?
know. No, I really want to. His name is
I'm gonna beat that.
but he's just a guy who was just so friendly with everybody, so vulnerable. Like literally, I opened up with him because he was so open, talking about family, like health, like my parents had these hopes and dreams of like for me, and literally it was like my second time talking to that guy.
Yeah.
And I like was head over heels. I was like, oh my god, I think he likes me, like he's opening up, and then turns out he didn't. And it literally
Damn.
feels like death. So yeah, I think you're right. Goes for both guys and girls. Like,
Yeah.
be a little bit more mindful of what you're sharing. Be, mindful of what kind of time you're spending with people because, every little thing that you do is like a sign. Like this guy, for example, like, yeah, we went for dinner together. We split the bill because, we were friends. But then he initiated, he was like, oh, do you want to walk around after? If we're just friends, you don't need to go and walk around after dinner. Like,
Yeah.
dinner's done. Like, you go home, I go home. Sure, I'm a girl. It's late at night. You can drop me off for sure. But you don't need to prolong it and walk around just you and me. Like, that's too much.
For sure. And I think that's like what we just talked about is a good strategy if you are that kind of person.
Yeah.
But I think if you're ever on the receiving end, something you could do is ask that person that you're friends with, what are their deal breakers?
Mm-hmm.
Like what would they, or like what kind of person would they never date?
Right.
Like what are those qualities? If they say anything that is even like remotely like describes you,
take it as a sign.
yeah, they
Yeah.
and
That's their nice, polite, people pleaser,
Yeah.
friendly way of saying like you're just a friend.
right.
Which I mistook that sign.
Yeah. And this is not a foolproof way. It's not gonna like apply to everyone. It's not gonna work in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like a good way to kind of gauge how they think of you.
Mm-hmm. But then people always want to be like that hopeless romantic. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's saying that,
Yeah.
I need to be speaking this language and I don't. But, maybe it doesn't matter for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to stop being like a little bit delusional.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
maybe also just, if he is your friend, like he or she, whatever, like I think after a certain point, like you owe it to yourself to not just be in this like weird perpetual state of being confused and just just letting them know. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? And I think it's better to let them know early before you're like madly in love with them and then you find out it's one-sided.
Yeah.
I think, right when you start feeling those feelings and you're confused if you don't know, if they're in or they out, it's best to just have a clear conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, like, I'm starting to get feelings for you. Like, where's your head at? Don't worry, we can still be friends after. It's like nothing serious if you can still be friends afterwards. And then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I think what you said is super great, and there's like a lot to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to say that for next time. It's something that I really want to get better at too.
No,
like communicating.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
And so like we also need to respect your time because you're gonna have to run. But we want to have time for our last segment. This is our first episode, and so this is new. I have a feeling this is gonna be a huge hit on this.
Off.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're calling this segment Profile Review. And so we're gonna go through your guys' dating profiles. We're gonna review them in a constructive way. We're gonna be really nice. So
most of the time.
Yeah. And so if you're interested in being featured on the podcast, uh, you should DM us, send us your dating app profile. It doesn't matter which dating app you use. You need to make sure that when you DM us though, that your account matches your dating profile.
Yeah.
Because
No fakes.
yeah, no fakes. We're not trying to like review like fake dating profiles. But the goal is to like help all of us do this well. And so we're actually gonna start off with me. And uh, I guess I've had a lot of help when I was making my own profile, but we're gonna see what Sania has to say. I'm gonna also ask for some feedback as we go along, and so hopefully, like this will give you guys more confidence when you're building your own profiles, and
take lessons learned.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so
I think I have seen your profile maybe once.
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
you're getting a lot of power right now. Okay, so this is my profile. We're putting this up on the screen for you guys to see.
All right. So I like the first picture. It looks like you're very travel-y.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like it looks too, like it's too eager. It's too big of a smile for a first photo. It would not, like if that's the first photo, I wouldn't swipe on it. You look too much like, I don't think it matches your personality. Like in real life, you're very cool, you know? Like I feel like that much teeth, like that much happiness, maybe one of the later photos.
Okay.
Yeah. Good relationship creating. Okay, this is like a good answer. Because it shows that you're looking for a serious relationship. It shows that, you know, you're not here to waste time, which is good because that'll attract the kind of crowd that you get on your profile. And you already said, yeah, long-term relationship. And okay, that's all good. I think this picture is really, really good. Because you're just out in the wild, you're doing your thing. You know, it's like an action shot. I don't think I would put it as a second photo though. Again, it would be one of the later ones, maybe the second last one. But let's see what else we have. This photo is amazing.
Thank you.
This one, like, I don't know who took it, but it's a very good quality photo. The colors are really nice, and you just look very, like, you know, your hair's all done. You're showing something that you really like to do, which is eat and try out different kinds of foods and, like, you know, find good food. I would honestly make this your second photo. Okay.
So what should a good second photo have?
I feel like a second photo should show, like, okay, it could have a couple of things. Either like you know, like you with like your friends or something like that, you doing something that you like. So the first photo is supposed to be catfish, like trap me, make me want to scroll down, if I'm being honest.
But not have too much of a smile.
Not have too much of a smile. Because like, you know, catfish, like, you know, give me your model face. Like try, but not too hard. You know, a little bit messy hair, not too done up, like nothing too proper. Second photo should show me the human version of you, you know, like who you are as a person, like, oh, you like to eat, or, you know, like here you and your friends just hanging out like together, like something to show me that you're a real person, you're not a serial killer, to keep me scrolling a little bit.
Yeah.
This is a really funny photo. I would stick the funny photo, like, I keep putting everything towards the end. This would be like third from the bottom.
Okay.
Just because, again, it shows a lot of character, but you don't want to give away too much character too soon. You're still, the beginning photos are still there to like lure me in and like trap me a little bit, you know? Yeah, like this photo is an amazing photo, like great quality photo. I think the quality of the picture also matters a lot. It's like this one and the food one. I think those are your, you know, top two right now.
Okay.
This is a very good last photo. It's showing, you know, you're outdoorsy, you like to hike, you're a happy guy, smiling. I'd leave this as the last one. Maybe make the first photo be the third photo.
Okay.
And then I think we just need a new first photo from you, Ethan. I think we need like that trap me like model, like selfie, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a very well-rounded profile. Each picture showing like a different aspect of your personality. You know, we have the outdoorsiness. You have friends. You're a real person. Good with kids, which obviously people do like to see it. This food photo, which also happens to be very aesthetically pleasing, as a picture on its own. Here, you know, you're teaching, you're volunteering, it's clear you have like that t-shirt on.
What about the
And then the
prompts?
travel.
Yeah.
Okay, the prompts, like I said, the first one was really good.
Uh-huh.
The honest communication, like it just shows that you know what you want and you're looking for something serious. Your advice about relationships, dinner spots, and fashion in that order. I think somebody else said this. I really like the in that order. It's like a very like cute little confident. You're not just answering the question. You're adding a little extra something. It shows your personality.
For sure.
When I need advice, I go to my little sister, my advisory board, and prayer. So this is also, again, really good. You're using the questions to show the things that are important to you. So it's clear to me with this, you value your family, your friends, and then, you're very religious, which is all very good. Which, and because I know you, so I can kind of match the profiles of the person, and I think it's giving, the right message. It's like a good indication of who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely move up the photo with friends. Maybe not to the second photo, because I think a lot of times people have a hard time figuring out if there's group photos too early on. Like, wait, which one was the guy? If this is their first time seeing it.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be like the third photo. The second photo is the eating.
Yeah.
We get a new first photo, add this as number 4, and, just play around with the order. I don't think there's anything bad about this profile. The first photo just looks you look very young.
Yeah.
And very, just, sweet, and we want to be a little bit, cool. These pictures give me a different vibe.
Yeah, for
than
sure.
what that first photo does. And I'm sure you can tell, too, because, they're probably taken at different periods in your life. And I also think it's very important to keep only your most recent photos on your profile.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So that it's, so you don't look so young in one photo and then, yeah.
Yeah. I guess a quick question that I have just before we wrap up is, I think one of the things that you were saying is that this profile feels very true to me because you know who I am.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is, if you were a girl on the app, you saw this profile, and let's say, because this gives you a good idea of who I am, do you think some people are they won't like that kind of profile? Like, they want a little more mystery. Do you think it reveals too much or do you think this, my broader question is, do you think this only attracts other serious people?
Okay.
Or
no, I'm going to say no, because, so yeah, it's very clear from your answers that, you're not just looking to hook up, but because you have these more fun photos, sorry, I keep going back to the one with your friends, your traveling photo, this one's pretty fun with the baby. It looks like you would also be open to just a good time also. So yes, your answers mean certain things, but a lot of times you'll find some people out there they could have good values, but they could also just want to just hook up.
Yeah.
And so they'll like your values, and I don't think you're oversharing at all either. I think the point of a dating profile is I think it's just to try to get a match.
Yeah.
And then what happens after the match is kind of what'll actually dictate if you guys hang out or if anything comes of it. But I think, it is very much like a marketing thing, and you should market your best foot forward kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's super solid. Yeah, thank you for reviewing my profile.
Of course.
I hope all of you enjoyed it as well. It's
and
something.
I wasn't mean about any of it. There was no content to be mean there.
Yeah.
But some people have.
Yeah. And we won't be mean. Even if you guys send us your profiles, maybe we just won't comment.
It'll be constructive. Whatever it is, it'll help out. The goal is to help out.
For sure. And this is not something that I've shown a lot of people. And so wow. I hope
pretty special.
Yeah, I hope you don't take it lightly. All right.
All right.
So that's it for today. We'll catch you guys next time. And I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Nice.